Hello and welcome to my channel Distinctive Crochet. My name is Priscilla and today we're going to be working on the butterfly wings crochet ponchette with beads, and I am super excited to share this tutorial with you all. So as you can see in the picture, it is a shorter version of a poncho, so a ponchette, and it is mostly lengthy on the sides, and it is worked in short rows to receive that effect. So I will explain all that in the tutorial, so no worries. So let's go ahead and get into the materials. Alright, so the materials you will need for this tutorial are 2 cakes of any number 3 weight yarn or DK yarn. You will also need some beads. I believe these are seed beads. You will also need a 5mm hook. You will need 2 pairs of stitch markers, so a total of 4 stitch markers, but you need to have 2 different kinds so that you can be able to identify the different points that we'll have to mark in this pattern. You'll also need a yarn needle, a pair of scissors, and if you did want to make it a size bigger, this is a size that fits most, but if you feel like you need a bigger size, you can use probably a 6mm hook. Okay, so those are the materials that you will need for this tutorial. If you did only have 1 cake though, you could just use 1, and then when we start to work on the sides, you could split the colors up and evenly disperse the colors for each side so that the colors will match up, but that is totally up to you. I found it easier if you do the cakes, but it's also more beautiful if you have shorter color changes and get more colors into the ponchette. Alright, so that's up to you. So here is a little bit more information about the beads, so I hope this is helpful to you, but that's pretty much it for the material. So now we're just going to go ahead and get right into the tutorial. Alright everyone, to get started with this tutorial, the first thing we're going to do is grab your 16 beads, and then you're just going to string them on your yarn. So you can grab your yarn needle and place it onto your yarn, thread your yarn through the needle, and then go ahead and slide all of your 16 beads on, and you can put them on in any order you want, but the last one that you place on will be the first one that you use, so just keep that in mind as you're placing them on there. So we're not going to use these right away, but we do want to have them on the yarn so that they'll be available once we start making the stitches and need to put them in place. So just get all of your beads on there just like that, and when I have all of mine on, I'll be right back. Alright, so I made it back and I have all 16 beads on the yarn. So now I can just remove my yarn needle, and then we can just slide them down a little bit and grab some working yarn, and then we'll just slide up the beads one at a time as we need them. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make a slip knot, and we're going to chain up 3. So we're going to do some foundation double crochets, so just chain up 3. Alright, so to do that we need to yarn over, and we're going to go into the back bump of the 3rd chain from the hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through that loop to make a chain. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2 to finish off our double crochet. Alright, so there's our first one there. So now we're going to make another one. We're going to yarn over and insert our hook into the bottom 2 loops of that chain we just made. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through that loop to make a chain. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so we'll do one more together, and if you need more practice with this, I'll link a tutorial down below where you can go check it out for more help. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this last one together. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into those bottom 2 loops of that chain. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through to make a chain. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Alright, so you need to have a total of 96, and the first one, that chain 3, does count as a stitch. and you do need a total of 96. So make sure you have a total of 96 foundation double crochets, including that first chain 3, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I made it back and I have my 96 foundation double crochets. So we're going to count over 48. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. So once you have your 48th stitch, go ahead and grab one of your stitch markers and then place it right there on that 48th stitch. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and grab the yarn, put that back on our crochet hook, and then we're going to make sure our foundation chain is not, our foundation stitches are not twisted, and then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to join right at the top of that chain 3. So just grab the top 2 loops of that chain 3 and then go ahead and slip stitch to join. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our other stitch marker and then place it on that stitch as well. And then these 2 stitch markers are marking the sides of the ponchette. So now we're going to go ahead and chain up 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, and we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip 5 and work into the 6th stitch. So we're going to go and work from behind. So we're not going to go in the front as we usually do. We're going to go from behind and insert our hook through those 2 loops. So right from behind, just like that. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop like we're going to make a single crochet. We're going to pause there though, and we're going to slide up a bead and bring it up in place. So you just need 1. Alright, once you have it all the way up, the next thing you want to do is you're going to yarn over and pull through one of those, that first loop, just like that, and then that'll lock that bead in place. But I'll show you one more time. So you have your 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and pull through that first loop, and then you're going to yarn over to finish off your single crochet, and then that way that'll lock that right into place. Alright, so now we're just going to chain up 7, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and work into that 6th stitch. Go in from behind your work under both loops, yarn over and pull up a loop. So go ahead and slide up your next bead. Okay, once you have that in place, yarn over and pull through that first loop. That'll lock that bead in place. And now you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Alright, and that'll just lock it right in front. So we're going to go ahead and chain 7 and do one more. Alright, we'll skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll work into the 6th one. Go in from behind your work, insert your hook under the top 2 loops, yarn over and pull up a loop. Go ahead and slide up a bead, yarn over and lock that bead in place, pull through that first loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Alright, So that's what it looks like so far. So you're just going to keep doing that all the way around until you have used all your beads, and I'll meet you back at the last one. So just remember to skip 5 and then go into the 6th one from behind and place your bead, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I made it back, and this is my very last one, so I need to skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's the 6th one. So I'm just going to go in from behind and yarn over and pull up a loop. Make sure my bead is in place. Yarn over and pull through one loop. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work right into this chain 7, 11 double crochets. So we don't have to chain up or anything, we're just going to go right into there and do 11 double crochets. Here's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and then work 11 right into the next chain 7 space. Alright, so that's what it looks like so far. So now we just chain 1 and then work 11 right into the next space. So just continue all the way around in the same manner, making sure you chain 1 in between your 11, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I made it all the way back around, and this is what it looks like so far. So we're not going to join, we're just going to go ahead and chain up 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we're going to skip over 5 of these double crochets from this. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to work into that 6th one. We're just going to put a single crochet right in there, and now we're going to do a chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and skip 5, and then we're going to work into the chain space, a single crochet. Okay, so now you need to chain 7 again, and then we're going to skip 5 stitches and work into the 6th one. So just put a single crochet right on top of that one, and then we'll chain 7, and then we'll put a single crochet right into that chain 1 space. So just like that, and we're going to keep following this same pattern all the way around, and then I will meet you back when I have mine. Alright, so I made it back, and this is what it is looking like so far. So all we're going to do now, I was on my last one, so I already chained 7, but we're not going to join, so I'm just going to go right into that chain 7 space and put a single crochet. So now we're going to chain up 7 again, and then put a single crochet into the chain 7 space, and then chain 7, and put a single crochet into the chain 7 space. Alright, so you're going to do that all the way around, and then you're just going to do that again for 2 more rounds, so for a total of 3 rounds. And just remember, for each round you don't need to join. So when you get back to your stitch marker, all you're going to do is just chain up 7 again, and then work into those chain 7 spaces as single crochet. So just do a total of 3 rounds, and I'll come back when I show you when I have mine done. Alright everyone, so I made it back and I did my 3 rounds of the chain 7 and single crochet into the next chain 7 space. So I did a total of 3 rounds of that. And so the next thing I wanted to do was just go ahead and identify what these stitch markers are. So these are the sides of the ponchette, and then the back and the front. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be adding on to the sides of the ponchette. So we're going to start right here where we left off, and then we're going to pick up a stitch, and then we're going to turn and work back into those stitches, and then come on the other side of the stitch marker and pick up a stitch, and then we're going to work back in those stitches and then pick up another stitch, and we'll keep doing that back and forth and pick up 1 stitch each round until we get all of the stitches that we needed picked up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mark the back and the front with some stitch markers, and you'll want to use the different stitch markers other than the ones that you have using already, so that way you can identify the back and the front. So I'm going to grab my stitch markers right quick. So the way we're going to identify where we need to put our stitch markers is from the starting tail. We're going to count over 4 of the 11 double crochet clusters. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then this single crochet right here is where we're going to be marking the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and place my stitch marker right there to identify that that back. Okay, so that is the middle there, and that way when I get up to here for picking up stitches, I know that that's when I'm going to stop. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to find that single crochet right next to it, and then we're just going to go ahead and mark that right there, and that'll let us know that that is the middle. And then when we get there to pick up the stitches, we'll know exactly where to stop. Alright, so here it is right here, and that's exactly where I'm going to place my stitch marker right there. Okay, so when we get here from picking up our stitches, we'll know that's where we need to stop. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to work the sides. So just go ahead and put your crochet hook back where you left off at, and we're just going to be working on this side only, and then when we finish this, we'll start up the other side with the other cake, and that way we can match up the colors. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I stopped 1 space before the stitch marker, so I'm just going to chain up 7 and finish that off. 5, 6, 7. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and put a single crochet right into that next space, and that'll finish off that round. So now all we're going to do is we're going to chain 7 and pick up 1 of those stitches, and then we're going to turn and work into those stitches and pick up 1 on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to chain up 7. Alright, and we're going to single crochet right into that chain 7 space, and now we're going to chain 7, and now, oops, five, 6, 7. Okay, now we're going to turn and work back into these stitches. So we're going to put a single crochet right in there and chain 7. And now we're going to put it in a single crochet right into the next one. Okay, and that's the one that's lined up with the stitch marker, so we're going to do that one, and now we're going to pick up one after the stitch marker. Alright, so this is the one after the stitch marker, so we're going to pick that one up and put a single crochet right in there. So now we're ready to chain 7 and turn. So let's go ahead and turn. And now we're going to work into the very first one, put a single crochet. We'll chain 7. And put a single crochet right in there. Chain 7. And put a single crochet right into that one, and that's the one we had first picked up, so we'll put a single crochet in there, and then we're going to work right into this one. So chain 7 and then put a single crochet right in there. So you'll see those 2 single crochets right on that one. So you can tell that that's the one that we have worked already from those 2 rounds, and now we're going to pick up a new stitch. So when you see the one that has 2 double single crochets in it, when you go to the next one, that is the new one. So that's how you know you're picking up a new stitch. So go ahead and put a chain 7 and put a single crochet in there. So that's just how you can identify when you're picking up a new stitch. So there's our chain 7, and we'll pick up our new stitch with a single crochet. And now we're chain 7 and turn. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and work back into those stitches we just made. So put a single crochet and chain 7. Now single crochet into the next and chain 7. Single crochet into the next one, chain 7. Single crochet into the next, chain 7. Single crochet into the next. Alright, so that's where we turn from the last round. So we're going to chain 7 and work into the next one. Okay, so we're going to work right into there, and that's the one that has the 2 single crochets on it now. And now we're going to go to the next one, and this will be our new stitch. So let's chain up 7 first. And now this is the new stitch, so we're going to pick up this with a single crochet. Alright, now we're chain 7, and then we can go ahead and turn. Alright, so you're just going to keep going in that same manner until we end up picking up all the stitches for that, until we get to that middle stitch marker. So let me go ahead and lay this out where you guys can see what it looks like so far. So by doing this, what's happening is we're building up this side only of the ponchette, and we're going to continue on in this manner, picking up 1 stitch in each row at a time until we reach this center stitch marker here, and it lines up right here with this stitch. So if you need to, you could put a stitch marker there, but I just have mine back so it's out of the way. And then it's the same thing on this side as well. So when we get here, we're gonna stop for this side. So it lines up right there with the stitch marker as well. But that's what we're doing. We're just gonna keep working in the same manner, picking up one stitch at a time, back and forth in rows. And then when you get there, you'll be finished off with that side. And it's just gonna continue to grow out. And then once you have that side done, when you have the color changes from the yarn, you can use the other cake to match up the color changes on the other side. So we're just going to continue working back and forth in the same manner in rows. And when I get this side done, when I get to the stitch marker, I will come back and show you guys what to do next. Okay, so just keep working in the same manner and I will meet you back. All right, so I made it back. So I just have the last stitch here on this side, but on this side here I still have 2 more to pick up. So I'm gonna have to come back around and pick one, but then when I go back to where I'm at now, I'm not going to pick up another stitch. I'm done picking up stitches on that side, so I'll just connect to the bottom edge. So I'll show you that when I come back, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and pick this last one up. So I'm going to chain up 7, and I need a single crochet and pick that up, a chain up 7, and then I'll go ahead and turn, single crochet into the chain space, and I'm going to keep going and I'll work back, and then when I come back around to the same side, I'll show you. All right, so I made it back, and as you can see, that's the one that I already picked up. So I'm not going to pick up any more stitches. All I'm going to do is just connect it to this one here. So I'm just going to single crochet right there, and then I'll chain 7 and turn. So now I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to go back to pick up that last stitch on this other side here. So I'll pick that up, and then I'll come back and show you guys what to do next. All right, so I'm just going to continue to work around in that same manner, and then I'll pick that up, and then I'll come back. All right. Okay, so I made it back, and I am here to pick up that last stitch on that same side we've been working. So I'm going to chain 7, and single crochet right into there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn and chain up 7. I'm going to single crochet right into that stitch, and I'm going to chain 7, and then I'm going to continue to work back around to the other side, and then I'll meet you back when I get over there. All right, so I made it to the end, so now I'm just going to end off with a single crochet into that last side, and then I'm just going to fasten off. So I'm just going to leave a tail to weave in and cut the yarn, and then I'm just going to pull that through to fasten off. So that first side is done. So there's the back side there, and then this is what the front looks like here. So that's what it looks like so far. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So you need to get your second cake, and then we'll attach the yarn, and then we'll go ahead and work back and forth to pick up the stitches in the rows until we get to the stitch marker, just like the other side. And we will work into that same loop as the last side to finish off. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is get your second cake out and see where the color is that you left off on for the other side. So I'm in this kind of lighter green area, so I'm going to pull off what I need until I can see it. So it's the one after the dark green for me, so I'm just going to pull that center part out. And actually this knot right here is pretty much where I need to be at, so I'm just going to cut it right there where that knot is. So I'm just taking that whole thing out, and I'll set that over to the side, and then I can just cut right here at this knot. Alright, so that is about where I started for that color on the other side when I started to work up the sides. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and attach our yarn. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip it over to the back side, and then we can attach it and then work in the correct direction that we need to go. So there's the stitch marker for the other side, and now we're going to go one stitch over to the right of the stitch marker and join it there. So I'm just going to slip stitch to join, and then I'm also going to do a single crochet in that same stitch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and chain up 7, and then we'll go ahead and single crochet into the next stitch, and then we'll chain 7, and that one was the one right above the stitch marker. So now we're going to go to the one next to, or the one on the other side of the stitch marker, and we'll single crochet in that one. So that is our first stitch that we picked up. So we're just going to go ahead and chain 7, and now we're going to turn. So we're going to turn and work these stitches that we just made. So we just need a single crochet right in there, and let's chain 7, and then we'll work the next stitch, and now we're going to chain 7, and then we'll work right into the one where we slip stitch to join, and now we're going to go ahead and chain 7, Alright, so now we're going to pick up this next stitch here and chain 7, and now we can turn, and then go ahead and single crochet right into that space and chain 7, and now we'll single crochet into the next chain 7 space. Oops, and I will chain up 7 and single crochet right into the next space and chain 7, and then single crochet right into the next chain space and chain 7, and now we're going to go ahead and single crochet into the next space and chain 7, and now we're ready to pick up the new stitch. So a single crochet there and chain 7, and now we can turn, and now we're just going to work back into these stitches that we just made. So let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so this is what it looks like so far. So we're just going to keep working back and forth in rows, picking up 1 stitch per row in that same manner all the way until we get to your stitch marker right there. And when you get there, I'll show you what to do to how to work into there. Alright, so I'll come back when we get there. So just go ahead and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I made it back. And I'm getting ready to pick up the last stitch. So I already have my chain 7. So what I want to do is connect it to this stitch here. So instead of just going in there, I'm going to go ahead and go under those 2 loops and pull it through. And then I'm just going to finish off the single crochet. And then those are to be joined together. So now I'm going to chain up 7 and turn. And now I'm going to go ahead and single crochet and chain 7 and work back in the other direction. So I'm just going to continue all the way back around and pick up the other end. Alright, so I made it back and now I'm ready to pick up the last stitch over here. So I'm just going to do the same thing by pulling through and making a single crochet. And I'm just going to chain 7 and turn. Okay, and do a single crochet and then chain 7 and work my way back. So I will finish off on the other side. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I made it back to the other side. So all we're going to do to finish off is just single crochet right into that last space. I'm not going to go up here into that one. I'm just going to leave it right there at the bottom. So let me spread this out so you can see a little bit better. Alright, so that's where I'm going to end off right there. Alright, so let me just grab my scissors so I can cut the yarn. Alright, so I'm just going to snip it there for a nice tail to weave in. And then I'm just going to pull that through to finish off. So all you have to do now is just go ahead and weave in all of your ends. And make sure you take your beginning tail to sew that part together where we did our foundation double crochets at the beginning. And then you are all finished with your butterfly wings crochet ponchette with beads. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and thank you so much for joining me on this. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.